Hello, Internet, and welcome to a special spooky Saturday edition of Homebrew Studio, where we are going to be playing a fun little one-shot of a game called Tremulus, a game of eldritch horror, using the Powered by the Apocalypse game system, which if you've been watching Shenanigans the last couple of weeks, doing their Shadows of Vale special mini-campaign, hosted by, or emceed rather, by Angela, you will be a little bit familiar with. So, Powered by the Apocalypse is a 2d6 system as opposed to your d20 role playing game system. Basically, the players, when they are prompted to make a move, will roll 2d6 and add a relevant stat. If their total is 10 or higher, they succeed. Wonderful things happen for them. If it's a 7 to 9, it's a mixed success or partial success. They get what they want, but there's a cost for it. And anything under 7, so a 6 or lower, is bad things happen for them. Good things happen for me, but bad things happen for them. So let's quickly meet our players and their characters today. So let's start with, I have to actually look at the stream layout to see how we're set up here. Angela, we'll start with you. Please introduce yourself and your character.
Hi, I'm Angela. My pronouns are she, her, and so are those of my character, Harlow. Harlow is the sensitive. She is someone who has spent a great deal of her life dealing with the fact that she has a unnatural sense to be able to see disturbing and potentially supernatural things. And she spent a lot of her life being both sort of stressed out by that, but also found herself in lots of circles of believers and supernaturalists and such because of her talents.
Awesome. Yes, the Sensitive is actually a home-brewed character that I came up with for this game. I think I'll put all of the uh, player character sheets that I put together in the Nerdsmith Discord. So if you're not part of the Discord, join it and then go down to the Homebrew Studio tab after we're done today, and I will put all those there for you so you can play around with them.
Set up on the World Anvil. I've been using that for my one shots and stuff, having like a little like
Ooh, yeah,
out.
excellent idea. And then let's move over to Harlow's left. Rev, won't you please introduce yourself and your character?
Hey, I'm Rev. I am the host and GM of The Crit Show, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse actual play podcast. And I use he, him pronouns. My character is Elijah, they, them. And Elijah is the affluent. They have been afforded many things through money and luxury, and has gotten an interest in the supernatural based off of having nothing better to do. And so can always almost convince themselves that what they're seeing isn't really what they're seeing, but there's still that drive to keep looking for it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rev.
Sorry.
And then let's go down to the bottom left of our layout. Marguerite, Tessa, won't you please introduce yourself and your character? Yes, thank you so much, Tessa. And then finally, we have Jay. Jay, please introduce yourself and your character today.
Hi, I'm Jay. I am mostly on Twitter lately. I've involved with some things that are to carry on the tradition of just teasing things, things that are in progress. My character is Robin, who uses he/him pronouns, and I am the antiquarian that just collects all kinds of weird, old, strange things, and some they are more strange than others.
All right, thank you, Jay.
Can you all hear me now? That is my next question.
Muted for a moment, Tessa?
I was muted for a second. I realized when I set this up, I set up like I normally did, but that didn't include an audio input for myself, just my audio output. So I apologize, everybody. I'm Tessa. Okay. I use she, her pronouns. Marguerite also uses she, her pronouns, and I am playing the alienist. Sorry about that.
Quite all right. Technical mishaps happen, especially on this channel. So, let us go in then. Or I guess I'll introduce myself. Sure, why not? That's the thing I should do. My name is Matthew, my pronouns are he, him, and I will be the Keeper today, which is basically the Game Master role for this particular game. Whereas everyone else will be rolling 2d6 for their rolls, I roll no dice. On my part, I do absolutely no rolling whatsoever. My actions are just dictated by what they do and how their dice decide to be kind or unkind to them. So, if you want to find more of me on the internet, you can find me on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. hosting No Brainer Trivia. And you can also find me as the host of Homebrew Studio, which normally airs on Saturday afternoons. You can find our backlog of videos either on the VODs for this channel or on YouTube. And I am also the DM for the Land Above podcast, which you can find by going over to nerdsmith.org and checking it out under the shows over there. All right. So let's begin our strange and curious tale today. The four of you are individuals of some note in your respective fields. Marguerite, you've become well known in the burgeoning field of psychiatry and the study and understanding of the human mind and what ails it. Elijah, by virtue of your family, you are a well-to-do person of great means. Harlow, you have become somewhat well known in the occult realms and circles of that particular culture, as someone who is quite attuned to the spirit world and can be called upon for consultations by whoever can afford your services. And Robin, you have become known as a collector of strange and unusual items. You're not some fly-by-night pawnbroker who deals in, tchotchkes and garbage. Your items are legit. You are very exacting in your standards, and people know to trust you and your discerning eye. The four of you have all been invited to a special soiree that's going to be happening in a couple of days in a small, fairly remote town called Ebon Eves. I should mention, for the benefit of our audience, that this takes place in the year of in the earlier part of the 20th century in the United States. So, you've all been invited out to a special soiree that is in celebration of the 99th anniversary of the town of Ebon Eves. This is their 99th anniversary since the founding of the town. And you have been invited to this gala, which is being held by one Mabel Pemberton, the matriarch of the well-to-do Pemberton estate, who, Elijah, you have close family connections, being also of the upper crust. And she is also well known to you, Robin, as being someone who is interested in purchasing strange and interesting items. Harlow, she recognizes your name through the various circles that you move in. And Marguerite, you are an esteemed expert in your field. So all of you have been invited to this party, and you find yourselves, coincidentally enough, sharing the same train carriage on your way to Ebon Eves. As you pass through, looking outside of your windows, the chugging and churning of the train, making this rhythmic, almost lulling sort of sensory experience. You look out your windows and you see passing green forests and large towering mountains capped with snow. It is very, very, very early spring, so there's still quite a bit of snow coverage up on the mountains. The temperature outside is quite cool. And what, if anything, would the four of you like to do? Actually, I'll tell you what you would all like to do. Three of you are in possession of strange items, and as such, I need each of you to roll plus reason for me at the beginning of our game. So, Marguerite, Harlow, and Robin, please roll plus reason.
I just did, and my total, it was 3.
Fantastic.
My total is 4.
2d6, right?
2d6, yes.
Nothing very low.
9.
6 total. I'm terrible. Hold on. Yeah, because I have a 0. Yeah.
And Marguerite?
My total was 4.
Can't hear you.
My total was 4. Sorry about that. I'm juggling the 2 inputs and not remembering which one is which at the moment.
It's quite all right. So, Marguerite, at some point in this train journey, you actually fell asleep while reading through this diary that's in your possession, this diary of a lunatic, full of strange ramblings and writings, and your dreams as you were sleeping are strange and troubled, and you just keep seeing this flashing image, this 9-pointed star appearing in your mind. And as the train hits a rough bump, you awaken with a start. You take 1 point of shock. Harlow. You are amusing yourself. You're perhaps doing a small consultation. What manner of tools and ritual does Harlow use for their consultations, her consultations?
Harlow uses a combination of things, but partly she uses the bracelet that she has. It has like a chain on it, and on the chain is hung all these tiny little bones that have like a hole drilled into each of them, and she sort of like just lets them drop off the chain and does sort of a reading of what the bones say.
All right. So you're doing a little reading, wondering what the portents hold for this particular adventure ahead of you. And as you are reading the bones ahead of you, the omens are not good. Something very terrible lies in wait for you ahead. You take 1 shock. So, aside from that, what else are you all doing to amuse yourselves as the train takes you all to Ebon Eves?
Threading the bracelet with the little bones. And so yeah, Harlow's putting each of the little bones back on, and by habit has like her pinky raised as she's doing that, and she's missing the top tip of her pinky finger. Weird, those bones kind of look like they're that size.
Elijah would be sitting looking out the window, fiddling with a very nice looking cane, and waiting actually for Robin to just discuss any interesting things that he may have seen in the past, since they talked last.
Yeah, he's Robin has probably probably has like a little bag with like a book that he intended on reading on the train or something. But yeah, he when he sees Elijah will sit there and sort of go through strange things that people have brought in, like little like a raven skull that has like a melted candle on it that's like halfway melted that just stays there, and like the candle won't come out. Like, that's cool, that's really neat. Little things like that.
I think once she's woken up, Marguerite will kind of shake herself a little bit, look back down to the page she was on, put a piece of fabric ribbon to mark her spot, and then make a little note on a slip of paper and tuck it into the front cover of the book with the page number and the dream. And then go back to looking out the window and looking around. She doesn't want to interrupt anybody's train of thought or what they're doing.
Harlow starts sketching in a journal that she keeps with lots of notes of things she's seen or concerns she has. It's like a diary.
All right, then. So, as your conversations and diarying and just scenic observations continue, you find yourselves in the train pulling up to the train station of Ebon Eves. And as the train comes to a somewhat lurching halt, you all gather your belongings and step off the train onto a large wooden platform of a train station that looks like it is probably as old as the town itself. But kept in good states. You are stepping off, and you find yourselves in a rather quaint, modestly sized town. You look, and all around you there are beautiful mountains spearing up into the skies. This town situated in the middle of a small valley. And it's just a sort of wonderful, rural, rustic retreat, almost. You'd imagine if some kind of investor or developer got their hands on this land, they'd turn it into a spa or some kind of health sanitarium for the wealthy and well-to-do to come and enjoy these beautiful vistas while being charged, ridiculous amounts of money. But as of yet, it has not succumbed to that sort of fate. So you are all now in town, each of you holding on your person, perhaps not physically holding at the moment, but on your person having an invitation to Madame Pemberton's soiree tomorrow evening. What would you like to do in the meantime?
Tea. I require tea. So, just out of habit, sort of, Harlow will sidle up to Marguerite and I'm going to be finding something to calm my nerves a little bit. Tea?
Tea sounds lovely. I would love to join you.
Good.
Shall we invite the others as well?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Up to you.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Would you care to join us for some tea?
That sounds fine. Yes.
Yes, I imagine I could do with a little bit of tea before we settled in for the evening. I believe I've already reserved a room, and Elijah is looking up and down the street. If there's a stoplight here, I've certainly missed it, so I couldn't even call it a one-stoplight town.
Well, let's see what we can't find then, shall we?
Tucks her journal into her vest.
All right, so the four of you make your way off the train platform onto the cobblestone streets. Looking around, there indeed is no streetlight, but you also don't notice any automobiles. It's all pretty much foot traffic. A couple of horses attached to carts, but it's not keeping up with the technological advances of the 19th. So, you make your way off the train platform and begin to look around, and you do find what looks to be a tea room not far from the railroad, if you would like to stop in there.
Harlow goes for the first place she's...
Marvelous. It is what appears to be just a very nice home. The front room, which has been converted into a small tea room. Very nice table laid out with a lacy white tablecloth. Currently set for 6, but as you come in, and the woman there who greets all of you says, "Oh, well, thank you. It's so good to see all of you. Nice to have some fresh faces in town. It is a pleasure to meet you. My name is Carter, Mrs. Carter. You can call me. Please do come in, the lot of you."
Thank you kindly. Harlow just goes for the table.
This is the kind of welcome I was expecting. I might have seen you a few feet further down at the train station, but it's wonderful to find you here nevertheless.
Are you talking to me or to Mrs. Carter?
I mean, Miss Carter has been much kinder thus far, simply by speaking to me, so Miss Carter.
That's fair.
Now, at least we did invite you to tea.
Yes, that's true.
So you take your seats at the table. Would anyone care for finger sandwiches as well, or will it just be tea for the lot of you?
I would love some finger sandwiches. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Marvelous. Allow me to put the kettle on. Won't be just a moment, please. Relax, take a load off, and I'll be right back. And she disappears into, past a sort of lacy curtain into the next room over.
Harlow cannot help but, for some reason, very immaturely chuckle under her breath at the phrase finger sandwiches, because Angela cannot.
I must say this place is really breathtaking. You know, I think that that sense of ease, the smell outside, is the absence of the exhaust put out by vehicles. I read this interesting study once about how the quality of the air can affect your mood and your senses and your relaxation. I think this might be just the kind of thing we need to try to implement in many spots to get a better sense of calm amongst ourselves.
Well, it would certainly be nice to have less foot traffic.
Yeah.
It is nice to enjoy the peace and quiet, I think. I am enjoying also the lack of petrol scent in the air. It's, as you say, Elijah, it's quite relaxing and beautiful vistas.
Yes, something you don't realize is permeating your senses until it's not there for a little while.
As you are relaxing in this fine dining room, a few moments pass and Mrs. Carter returns carrying a tray, which she sets down at the edge of the table and begins passing out these very nice porcelain teacups and saucers. They have this sort of frilly edge to them that makes them look almost flower-like, and begins pouring for each of you, asking if you'd like milk or sugar with yours, and obliging each of you. Once the tea has been served, she returns a moment later with a small tray that has some finger sandwiches and some butter cookies as well, and says, "There you are, the lot of you. Now, if you don't mind me asking, I don't mean to stick my nose in your business, but what brings you all to the town of Ebon Eves?"
Oh, well, we are here to help us celebrate your 99th anniversary. We've heard it's going to be quite the occasion.
Oh, yes, the whole town getting, up in ourselves. It's a wonderful occasion. Just 1 year shy of a centennial.
And won't that be an even grander celebration next year? We'll have to return for
I
it.
imagine so. It would be lovely if you came back. You're such wonderful, well-to-do and well-put-together folks.
Oh, well, thank you.
Do you celebrate every year?
Of course, it's the anniversary of our hometown.
Did something very notable happen on the anniversary that it's worth that meticulous of a remembrance?
She looks at you kind of confused and quizzically for a moment and says, "Well, we all love our town very much. We like to celebrate its birthday is all. Do they not do that where you're from?"
Not sure there's a precise date of celebration for back home. Just sort of there. But that's very nice for you. Traditions are important and all. And she just pours way too much tea into her cup and just focuses on that for a while.
Mrs. Carter will turn her attention to Robin. You're awfully quiet, dearie. Is everything all right?
Yeah, just listening. I'm enjoying the conversation. Don't have much to add. Like, enjoying the peace and quiet of no cars or shipping or anything going outside.
The quiet type. My old Alvin is much the same.
Oh, is that your husband?
Yes, yes.
And what does he do?
Oh, as little as possible these days.
Oh, well, don't we all?
Harlow glances like sidelong at Elijah, like, I don't work for my pay.
Getting some serious like arsenic and old lace vibes going on right now.
Oh, he's in the basement.
He'll be fine. Well, I do have to say you have quite a lovely establishment. It's and your tea service is quite lovely as well.
Oh, thank you ever so much. I do strive to do what I can for those who stop by. I always loved hosting, throwing little shindigs and get-togethers. Though, as the years pass on, fewer and fewer people to invite over, unfortunately. That's just how it goes, but always glad to have new people come and visit us as well.
Well, we are more than happy to oblige.
Are you involved in some way with the celebration that's going to be going on, the 99th anniversary? You're right, there is something about a 99th anniversary. It's not the 98th, which is kind of mundane, and it's not the 100th, but there's something being on the precipice of that great number.
Portent, even.
Yes.
She's just staring down at her teeth.
Now, involved in the celebration, not so much really. I imagine quite a few people are just going to, probably go to the Pemberton Gala. The whole town's been invited. That's what I was planning on doing tomorrow evening.
Is that an every year occurrence as well?
Oh, they
party?
always have the best party every year on the anniversary.
Oh, well, I am quite excited to go and attend and see what all of the to-do is about.
Have any of you met Madam Pemberton before?
It has been so long. I don't think that I could have been 5 or 6, and it was simply in passing.
No, not at all. I usually just get addresses and then I show up.
No, I can't say
well.
that I have.
Ah, well, she is something. She's a bit of, what in tea terms you might call a strong flavor. But she's a wonderful and generous woman who's done plenty for the town, her and her family, so I'll not speak a word against her. Her no good son, on the other hand, but that's a different matter.
Oh, was there some trouble there?
We should be aware of before the party
Well.
that we don't run afoul of anyone unpleasant.
She scoots a little closer, and then sort of surreptitiously looks around, despite the fact that the 5 of you are the only ones in the room. It's just that her eldest son, Samuel. Now, there's a rotter if I ever saw one. Never done an honest day's work in his life. Oh, constantly getting into trouble, spending his mother's money. Shame on the entire family.
Oh, that is too bad.
Does he come to the party?
Oh, I imagine he'll be there. If it's anything like last year, he'll be carried out about an hour before it ends. No temperance, that man. No temperance at all.
All right. Keep an eye out then.
It is so unfortunate when people never have to experience the world outside of their sphere and can't really cope once they get into it. I can't imagine poor Pembertons having to deal with their son coming and making a spectacle, perhaps year after year. I'm not quite sure. The little bit of tea that was spilled only told me last year, and I kind of grin at her.
Well, I can't speak to spheres. I'm not much for the mathematics, but yes, it is quite a shame.
Perhaps a trusted advisor or a friendly ear might be of service, and hopefully, maybe we can give him more of an attitude towards temperance. After all, one only needs a good confidant to make amazing changes in one's life.
If anyone could turn that lad around, God bless them.
Where do you recommend that one might stay? I, unfortunately, have seemed to have neglected to find a room for the evening. Is there a hotel or a bed and breakfast that you might suggest?
Well, I do know old Widow Borg. She has a few rooms for rent.
And I'll pull a piece of paper out of my inside pocket. Is this... I couldn't quite read this. Does this look like the spelling of Borga to you? This is what they wrote down.
Oh, yes, that would be her.
I thought it was something like that. Bourgeois, Bologna. I couldn't quite tell.
No, Madame Borg, Mrs. Borg, Widow Borga, she's a wonderful woman. Doesn't say much these days ever since her husband died, but keeps a fine house and treats her guests well.
Harlow jots the name and the circumstances that Mrs. Carter just entailed into her journal.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for that information.
Of course. Anyone care for more finger sandwiches?
No, no, thank you.
Oh, I couldn't, but thank you so much.
Yes, this tea was wonderful and not too strong.
Yes.
Thank you ever so much. It's my pleasure. Okay, so, after enjoying a fine bit of tea, who will be paying for tea, by the way? Oh, very nice, Angela.
I absolutely will.
Okay, so that will cost you 1 wealth. Just deduct that from your character sheet.
No problem.
And you all head back out into the city, the unbustling town of Ebenezer.
Keep finishing that as Ebenezer. I know that's not what the word is you're saying, but it's so I'm finishing in my head.
Are you all just heading to Widow Borga's, or are you going to take in more of the town?
I would take a constitutional.
Indeed, and I would enjoy walking the length of the boulevard here and seeing what there is to see. Perhaps there are some interesting shops. Robin, perhaps there's interesting artifacts that you might even be able to find for your place.
Yes. Look around. The intent of coming back probably tomorrow to pick things up.
Okay. Why don't you roll plus luck for me, Robin?
$12.
Fantastic. So, yes, I will say that you find either. I will give you the choice: either one very good item of my choice, or one sort of mundane but useful item of your choice.
The one very good item. I think.
Okay. So as you are window shopping, you do find what looks to be a very what looks to be a hmm. What looks to be a very fine, if somewhat dated, but in excellent condition, coat that someone has in their display window, and it catches your eye.
I'm gonna go in to check it out.
Okay, you're gonna go in now.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. You find a shop that is sort of filled with various bric-a-brac and older-looking items that have either been restored or have been kept in fairly decent condition. Some of it looks like maybe Civil War era or even earlier. And there's this fine coat in the front window, and there's a man standing behind, or not standing behind anything, sort of moving up through the various items, who notices you as you come in and comes up and says, "Oh yes, hello.
Hi.
Are you interested in anything that we have that I can? What can I help you find today?"
I like the coat in the window.
Oh yes, a marvelous thing this. And he will go over, take the coat off of the stand, and begin to show you the inner lining and all of the details of it. Now, this coat is actually about 70 or so years old, and was designed with armored pockets inside the inside. If you feel through the fabric here, and you can feel there are actually hard strips cleverly and very stealthily hidden between the folds of the fabric. It says, "This to give some ample extra protection while maintaining the look of elegance."
Oh. Do you like it? Kind of like the look of it.
I think it would look a wonderful addition to whatever collection you may have. Are you yourself a collector of interesting items?
Yes, I am.
Marvelous. Well, I imagine this would make a suiting addition to your collection if you are interested in purchasing.
Yes. I can carry that around. Yeah.
Marvelous. So, this will cost you 2 wealth, unless you have a move that allows you to do some bargaining. I'm not sure what moves you took.
No, I didn't take that one.
Okay.
But I rolled decently on my wealth, so I'll take that.
All right, so just mark that you have an armored coat. It will provide +1 armor. While this is happening, are the rest of you browsing the shop? Are you staying out in the streets? Are you wandering off doing your own things?
I would absolutely be browsing the shop.
All right.
I would be just wandering the street outside, looking at the buildings, seeing if there's anybody around, just kind of getting a vibe for the place.
Okay. I will say, if you would like to, you may roll plus passion, Harlow.
Oh. A 5 total.
5. You can't really get a vibe of the kind of place. It's just sort of very unremarkable.
Which concerns her more because of the portent she had felt. That something that seems really innocuous is somehow more unnerving to her if she's waiting for something, like waiting for the shoe to drop.
Mm-hmm. Elijah, would you like to roll plus luck to poke around, or are you not looking for anything in particular?
Sure. Yeah, I'll look around.
Okay, roll plus luck.
10.
10, fantastic. So you can find a fairly commonplace but useful item of your choice, or a good item of my choice.
Yeah, I think I'll go with an item of your choice.
Fantastic. You find, as you wander sort of towards the back of the shop, as Robin and the shopkeeper are having this conversation and conducting their transaction, you find what looks to be it's a bit, it doesn't look real pretty, but you recognize the basic design of it as sort of an early model Tommy gun.
I would get closer and start just kind of scrutinizing it.
Mm-hmm. You take a look at it, fiddle with some of the parts, the bolt action. It appears to be in working order. It's just not the sort of refined modern design. It's a bit clunkier.
Yeah, I think that I have got a statue that this would look phenomenal holding. So
Okay.
I will pick it up and kind of turn around. I don't see prices marked on all of these things. I apologize. I know it's so gauche to ask price, but I'm very interested in this. This is phenomenal. I've never seen one quite this old before. And they are just shouting to the nobody that's really near him.
After completing the transaction with you, Robin, the shopkeeper comes over to you, Elijah, and says, "Ah, yes, you have found this fine little item. Everyone knows the Tommy gun, yes, that gun. This is a Chesterton. It is a slightly earlier variation on the same principle, and it is, I think, a wonderful showpiece for those who are appreciators of mechanical ingenuity and the creation of the sort of item. Is it something you would be interested in purchasing?"
Yes, I have read of Chesterton, but I've never seen one. I didn't even know what to look for when trying to spot one.
Ah, yes. You can tell by the distinctive design in the way that the Matthew just forgot the word. The
Gun does
his hand
the shooting.
motion doesn't help.
Barrels. I'm just making gun words.
The way the thing fits in the thing, you see.
Oh, yes,
and
yes.
yes.
The static is perfect.
Exactly. And the shopkeeper says, "I also have some of the ammunition that was designed for this particular instrument, if you'd be interested in purchasing that as well."
Yes, did they, like with the Tommy gun, did they make some kind of a case or anything for it, or was it not in production long enough to reach that phase?
Oh, yes. In point of fact, and he will go over and pull out from behind some other things a carrying case that would hold this particular type of weapon.
Well, look at this. The whole lock, stock, and barrel, if you would. Absolutely, I would be interested in this.
Marvelous. So go ahead and mark off 2 wealth to purchase that item. With your purchases complete, you head back out onto the street to meet up with Harlow. Marguerite seems to have wandered off on her own, but the three of you can continue on in whatever direction. Oh, and Marguerite starts wandering back after being on some manner of solo adventure.
That we'll cover in the prequel.
Welcome back, Tessa.
Thank you. Sorry about
All
that.
right.
It's okay.
No worries. So Harlow was trying to case the town, but couldn't really get any sort of bead on the place. It just seems very, unremarkable. Elijah and Robin both made some purchases from an sort of antique curio dealer. Is there anything Marguerite wished to do during this time?
I think she's really just kind of enjoying getting kind of a feel for the town, really mainly watching Harlow especially interact with people, trying to get a better read on Harlow's mental attitude on a day-to-day kind of process, as she normally sees Harlow in a different setting, so she's interested in that. And then she's also checking in on Elijah slightly and watching how they interact with people as well, trying to get a read on them.
Okay. In that case, I'll say go ahead and roll to read a person for Harlow. So it's roll plus passion.
I'm in session, even out of session.
Well, that was a 13.
Here's just my
Okay.
character. You can just have that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So, I will say this isn't really an interaction, it's more of an observation. So, I'm going to let you ask a question about Harlow's demeanor or personality, and Harlow will have to answer truthfully.
Is Harlow nervous about interacting with everyday people on some level, or are they feeling... My concern is that Harlow would be feeling overwhelmed or unsafe, and that's kind of what Margaret's trying to judge is how Harlow is feeling.
It's not that Harlow feels like she's unsafe around other people. There is something unnerving about being around people that don't have any idea how dangerous the world actually is. That she can walk around and see things, and someone could just be completely oblivious to what they are actually in danger of. And so she doesn't like being in crowds because that's fewer people to have to worry about.
Great. Perfect. Ethical.
All right. So the four of you reunite in the streets and continue heading into town towards the Widow Borge's bed and breakfast. As you are heading down the street, you are all suddenly confronted with the sound of an explosion. And as you look to your right, you can see one of the fairly large houses, like an estate house, maybe not that big, but a fairly large house just to the right off of the street. A portion of the back roof has just blown off, and there is purple smoke rising up out of this hole. You hear dogs barking in response to the explosion, people sort of poking their heads out, looking across the street, pointing, talking amongst themselves.
Oh my.
Yeah, I would turn and run that direction, since the people of the town don't seem to be responding. There could be a fire or something.
Okay.
Purple bothers me, so I just weirdly like not liking to make eye contact with people, not really loving socializing, yet instant wanting to run towards that.
As a medical professional, it is my duty to help those in need. So
That kind of
going.
character.
The mind
just
needs help too in bad circumstances.
I just want to see what's going on. But I'm gonna, like, as jogging, like, pulling the coat on just in case something, like, happens.
Okay. So, you all run. Are you running to the front door? Are you running around the side of the house? How are you approaching this?
I was gonna run towards the explosion side,
Yeah.
the busted side, if you will.
Okay. You run around the side yard of the house, and you come to the point where the roof has blown out and this purple smoke is rising. There are shards of debris and broken shingles and splinters all over this side of the yard, and there is no door over here. There are just some windows.
I think I almost said Harlow. I think Marguerite actually would have run to the front door, then run the back, because her concern is the people inside, and try to get in to get anyone who's inside or maybe trapped out in case there is further collapse.
Okay, you get to the door and it is locked.
Can I pick it with a hairpin or something? Maybe.
You can certainly try, I'll say. Is this something Marguerite has had to do in the past, is pick locks?
Not really, no, but she's read a lot, so she's like, maybe I can.
Okay.
The other thing I would think of is maybe like I could
get your
shoot the
hairpin.
lock open, but
Shit.
So you get your hairpin and you start fiddling around inside the lock. And you're at it for maybe 5 seconds before you hear footsteps approaching the door. Pum, 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 pum. Okay. The door swings open, and confronting you, you see a dark-skinned woman wearing a long, probably was white at one point, but is now more sort of an ashy gray color, or streaked with soot and a few burn marks probably. Long coat buttoned down the front, these large black rubber gloves. Her hair is sort of poofy and frizzy, and she has goggles on. And she just, and you can see her face is like smeared with a purplish sort of powder across half of her face. And she opens the door and looks at you.
are you all right?
What
We
do you
heard
want?
the explosion. Wanted to make sure you were okay.
She closes the door.
I like her. She's got a good energy.
Excuse me?
The door opens.
What happened?
Science!
Ooh, I like science.
Do you understand science?
I do understand
Do you know anything about science?
I do. I'm a doctor. I do understand science.
What kind of doctor?
I am a psychiatric doctor and also
Useless. Closes the door.
Damn.
I do science.
On the back of the house, are the windows busted out from the explosion?
There's a couple, like, right next to where the hole in the roof is that have been busted out. Others are cracked.
Yeah, I think the one that is closest to us, like one that would be reachable, Elijah is taking their cane and like slamming it against the sides and clearing the glass away so that it's just a big open square. And hello, is anyone in there? Is everyone all right?
You don't get any answer.
And I'll turn to Harlow. They may be unconscious. They could be dead. I'm not quite sure. Do you want to go in and check? We've got a nice clean entrance at least.
Sure. Don't have much concern for private property. Out of here.
Marguerite is going to start making her way back to the others. Like, I don't know what to make of this person.
I would have stopped like kind of in the middle, like watching, like peeking around at both sides. Like, I don't know who's gonna need help, so I'm just gonna stay here. But yeah, once Marguerite starts heading over, I'm gonna follow.
Okay.
Harlow knows that there is no reason for her to attempt to open a window, and basically just kind of waves at Elijah since they seem to have the right idea with Kane. You just was the window already open? I'm sorry. Did you already open it?
The window's been broken
Yeah,
and all the glass
broken.
has been knocked out of it.
She kind of motions to like make a cradle with your hands.
Oh yes, of course. And I'll get down on a knee and put my hands together.
Thank you. And she'll put a hand on his shoulder and like haul into the window.
And in we go.
Okay, so you get boosted in through this window, and you find yourself in what looks to be some kind of laboratory. You notice that there are a number of glass, chemistry implements set off to one side. There looks like there's been recently an explosion, and there are bits of broken glass and small shards of metal that have been sprayed in various places. There's also some scorch marks across the walls and ceiling. You also notice that there is off to one side what looks to be like a pedestal with something sitting on top of it, but it's been draped over with a heavy opaque cloth. And then you also notice a doorway set into one of the walls. A closed door set into the wall to your right, and then opposite you, an open doorway that looks like further into a hallway.
I am nothing if not a sucker for a thing under a cloth. So, Harlow glances down the window at Elijah. She's trying to think of what to do. Are there any chairs or anything nearby that I could like drop down to him so he could give himself his own or their own boost up the window?
There does not appear to be a chair in the room, no. And also, you think you hear footsteps headed this way.
I put a finger out down the window at Elijah, and then I hustle towards the covered thing.
Okay. You stand before the covered thing.
I would like to peek underneath.
Okay, I want you to roll to act under pressure. So roll plus reason.
I actually took Strangely Intense, which is one of the features, so I can roll luck instead of reason when doing something under pressure.
Awesome.
7.
7. Okay. So I'm going to give you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Either you are going to get caught and not see what's under this,
Okay.
or you are going to see under this, but it's going to cost you.
I want that. I want to know what's
Okay.
under.
You hear the footsteps approaching, and you very quickly peek underneath this black cloth, and what you see is kind of curious. You see under a glass dome on a small wooden stand a hand mirror with a brightly polished silver frame and a handle, and looking into it, it's a hand mirror. You see your own reflection, and then your reflection distorts and changes, and you watch the features of your face grow distended, and your mouth becomes this large, wide, toothy smile as you grin inhumanly large back at yourself. You take 2 shock.
Okay. I am disturbed.
Do you see anything?
I would like to run back to the window and
You run back to the window, yes. And you get out.
Elijah, you just see Harlow climbing out of the window.
What's going on? Is fire, or what are you running from?
No fire, someone's coming. And she like drops back down the window and just stares at the wall for a moment, trying to kind of process.
Okay. Yes, you escape just before the footsteps reach the room, so you are not caught.
Is someone coming? A bad thing? I thought that we were hoping to find someone's to make sure they were all right.
I'm sure they're fine. There was just a lot of mess. And, yeah, I don't know what they're doing in there. Sorry, not very much help. I don't work well under pressure.
But it seemed to be everything was fine other than the explosion.
Some broken glass. Yeah.
Well, should we go? Is this not the introduction we want to the rest of the town?
Just kind of stares at the window for like a solid 10 seconds.
And about halfway through that, I duck down and kind of start duck walking back towards the corner of the house.
Okay.
Did you meet the crazy science lady?
Oh, is that who's in there?
She's a scientist of some sort. But said my knowledge of science would be useless, and then shut the door in my face. She seems to be mostly alright.
She might have a point.
I didn't say she was wrong, but I am curious.
The Harlow's just like completely absorbed right now.
Mm-hmm. What is Robin doing?
Just waiting for them to move, I guess. I don't want to leave everybody behind, but clearly don't want to talk right now, so I'm not going to push anything.
Where's Elijah?
Peek back around the corner. I thought we were going. Are we going or are we staying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's go.
What did you see, Harlow? Is everything alright?
It was a mess. A big mess.
I can imagine.
I don't know much about science. It's not my forte. So.
No, you have
Not sure.
other specific skills.
Yeah.
So you all come back. Or sorry, go ahead.
Let's just keep walking.
You all come back around the side of the house to the road. And as you do, another resident of the town comes over, and it's a younger woman, probably mid-20s, in a very nice, modest dress, comes over and says, "What business did the lot of you have over at the Butler house?"
No real business other than the sound of an explosion and the desire to make sure that anyone involved in said explosion was all right.
Oh, I see. Not from around here, are you?
Is that a common occurrence?
Not a fortnight passes, there isn't some kind of explosion over at the Butler place. Weird things that woman's into, weird things.
Well, I suppose that explains everyone's non-reaction in the town. Everyone just kind of seemed to mutter to one another and take a peek. It's not common where, at least where I come from, I can't speak for everyone else, to see parts of roofs blown off and glass exploded out on occasion.
Sounds like wherever you come from is quite peaceful then.
You know, it really is. Well, except for, of course, the smell. The smell here is phenomenal. The lack of engines and just the clearness of the air. It really adds a layer to the calm that I felt before, before that explosion. But it's interesting that you're all able to kind of tune it out and find calm in that. Almost like a town clock or something.
I don't know about how much calm there is. People say strange things go on in that house. You know, she's been married 9 times, that woman. And all of her husbands, they died real mysterious like.
Interesting. Marguerite's mind involuntarily flashes back to the 9-pointed star in her dreams, and like starts ruminating on the fact that it's the 99th anniversary, and now it's her 9th husband, and she's just like, no, that's strange, and tries to push it out of her mind.
So, y'all being new in town, I suggest you don't go getting mixed up in Winnie Butler's affairs. Especially you two gentlemen, now that she's looking for another husband.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah, keep that in mind. Guess neither of you went to the front door then.
Indeed. She might have blinded you with science.
9 husbands. How many live in this town? Surely she must be running out of prospects at this time.
The young woman looks a little offended. We've got many a fine man here, thank you very much.
Oh,
9
I
fewer than you
don't
did
doubt that.
before. I'm sorry, was that rude?
I honestly didn't hear what you said,
Oh,
Angela.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
9 fewer than you did before. When you said we have many fine gentlemen.
Well,
So,
while we have you here, is there, and kind of look back at the house, is there anything else we should know, being, as you said, new to town?
well, I don't like to gossip or tell tales, so I'll just say stay clear of that one, she says, nodding over to the Butler house. And don't get on the bad side of the Pembertons. They kind of run things around here.
Sound advice?
She starts to walk away and just sort of glances back at the house one last time and crosses herself and then goes back to her business.
Right.
Well.
Interesting. Well, it definitely seems like we have some sort of interesting situation going on here.
I find it fascinating that Mrs. Carter mentioned the strong tea of the Pembertons and didn't think to mention the exploding house.
Perhaps one is considered to be more shocking.
Or perhaps it depends on the flavor that you enjoy. Maybe that's something they like compared to, I hate to think of whatever the Pembertons are doling out.
Indeed.
Yeah.
I think I've had enough of a constitutional today.
Shall we head then to the Widow Morris and find a place for the evening?
Yes, I would actually like to. Yes, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. You make your way down the street and you eventually come to a quaint house. And knocking on the door, you are met by a very elderly woman, probably in her 70s, with a considerable stoop, her white hair pulled back in a tight bun. She looks up at the four of you over her spectacles, seems to ruminate for a moment, and then hobbles her way back inside and gestures for all of you to follow.
Sure thing. Harlow. This is weirdly more her speed. Creepy old lady who doesn't talk because her husband died. Totally into it.
So, you all enter the foyer, and there is looks to be a sort of a ledger set on a table to one side, and she picks up a fountain pen, dips it in, and offers it towards you, Elijah.
Yes, thank you. This is quite a lovely place you've got here. And I'll sign.
Okay. You notice in the ledger is just people's names and then date of arrival, date of departure. So you write in your name and date of arrival.
As I'm doing that, I just want to look and see, like, how frequently does the widow have guests?
Like one every couple months, maybe?
And they're only staying for
Not
like a
terribly
day or
frequent.
two.
The pin passes to each of you to sign in, should you wish, for accommodations. And then the widow looks to the four of you and says, um, breakfast at 7, dinner at 6. Goes over to a box, retrieves some keys, each of which has a small card with a stamp on it. Passes them out to each of you. So, Elijah, you have a key with a stamp of a stag head. Marguerite, you have a key with a stamp of an elephant. Harlow, you have a key with a stamp of a mouse. And Robin, you have a key with a stamp of a sparrow.
Matthew, did we hear correctly that the widow wasn't really known to speak much or at all?
She doesn't talk much.
Okay, doesn't talk much. Okay, because I was like, she can talk. That's fine. Thank you.
And then she totters off to what looks to be a parlor nearby, sits down in a large back chair.
I'm going to rest. See you all when I see you.
Yeah. Good night.
Of course.
And Harlow will make her way to the mouse room.
Yeah, so no real directions are given to you. This is a two-story house. Would you like to check upstairs or downstairs first?
I'm gonna assume.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm going to assume I have to go upstairs. So I'm going to go upstairs.
Upstairs, okay. You go up the staircase to the second floor landing, and you see that there are 3 doorways. One of them has each with a sort of wooden relief sculpture by the door. One of them looks like a stag's head, one of them looks like an elephant, and one of them looks like a mouse.
I'll go to the mouse.
All right, your key slides in, unlocks the door, and as you step inside, it's a cozy room. Not terribly large, but there is a bed. Looks to be fresh linens on it. Everything looks very clean and comfortable. There is a wardrobe and a closet, should you wish to unpack anything.
Harlow will try to go through those rote motions of unpacking, but pretty soon after just sit on the bed and take out her book and try to what has become habit for her to sort of purge from her mind things she's seen. She will be trying to make some facsimile of a drawing or sketch rough of what she saw in the mirror.
Okay. What about the other 3 of you? What would you like to do?
I think Marguerite looks around for like, is there like a library or anything where, or a sitting room where one could relax, not necessarily in their room or anything like that?
Sure. There is a parlor with a large fireplace that the widow Borgia is currently sat with. There is also to the opposite side of the hall what appears to be a like a library sitting room. Yes.
I think she's gonna go to the library sitting room with the journal that she has and sit and flip through some pages.
Okay.
I would take a lap around the parlor, just seeing like what pictures are there, what is kind of on display in the parlor before looking for my room.
Okay. In the parlor, you notice that over the fireplace there is a very large, what looks to be like an oil canvas with a very nice frame around it, and it is painting a scene of a cemetery. There are heavy shadows falling over the majority of the scene, and then somewhere towards the sort of upper right, there's one mausoleum sort of structure that the shadows are parted and there's just bright daylight shining down upon it. Otherwise, you see a couple of they have photographs, or were they still daguerreotype? I think they had very early photographs around this time period. Uh, Photographs of what you assume to be the widow Borga and her late husband, and there are a couple of what look to be like hunting trophies mounted on the wall as well. You see there is a 8-point stag head mounted directly over the door as you enter the room. And then there is also a what looks like a stuffed bird of some description set on a bookshelf.
Really casually, looking at the painting just over my shoulder towards the widow. So is this a location here, or is this something that was painted just from the artist's imagination? And I'll kind of glance over my shoulder to see if she reacts.
She doesn't say anything. She's just sort of staring into the fireplace.
Yes. I imagine someone who's been around this town for such a long time, so many interesting characters around here, and all of this, they're just kind of in a almost a sotto voce voice, just kind of musing, but loud enough for the widow to hear. I bet they've seen a lot of things, a lot of interesting things that, we'd like to talk about or think about old times. I'm going to turn and kind of glance into the fire. And then I'll look over to her to see if has acknowledged my presence at all.
She has not.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think at that, I kind of straighten my jacket. Yeah. Yes, I will assume, unless I see it, that painting came from somewhere else. I hope you have a good evening, and we will certainly see you at dinner now, won't we? And I'll turn and start to walk towards the door.
Okay. As you're leaving the room, you think you hear snoring.
I'm going to turn back and look, see if she has her eyes closed.
From this vantage point, you can only see the back of the chair.
Okay, yeah, I'll leave her to her rest. Does it sound like it's coming from the chair? Like it doesn't sound like a
it's
dog
coming from
somewhere? Her. Okay, yeah, I will. I'll leave the widow to her rest.
And what has Robin been doing?
I'm gonna put things down in my room. Look for my room, set to put things down, and then look around the library for anything interesting.
Okay. You have the Sparrow room. Yours is the one room on the first floor. So stepping inside, it has a very aviary theme to it. There are pictures of birds on the walls, and even what looked like a couple of stuffed birds, one perched just by the windowsill, and another perched over on on the top of a like a vanity with a small wash basin next to it.
Very funny. I'm gonna start look a little bit closer at the taxidermy before I head back out to the library to look for anything interesting or old looking to look through.
Okay, so you come over to the library where Marguerite is studying a small book, and there are a number of tomes. Why don't you roll plus luck to poke around?
6.
6. Nothing really sticks out to you. They always just seem kind of general books, a lot of Reader's Digests, sort of kind of thing. Uh, Nothing that really catches your interest, unfortunately. All right. So, if there's not anything anyone else wants to do, or if you want to do, by all means jump in. But we'll say otherwise, you get settled into your rooms. You have a nice dinner served by the Widow Borga, and retire, and the evening passes. And the next day comes about. Um, Early in the morning, as you are all rising, the electric lights throughout the house begin to flicker and dim, and they go out for a few seconds before coming back on.
That was interesting.
Is the widow in the room with us?
If you want to, yeah, when you go down for breakfast, she's there.
Oh, sorry. So when did the flickering happen? Before we got downstairs, or
Yeah,
while
when
we
you
were?
were all getting up and getting ready for the day.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Harlow will grab her journal and head downstairs, and if she can find the widow. Anything wrong with the power, the electricity? There was a fritz.
Hmm.
Is that something that happens a lot?
Now and again.
Is wouldn't happen to have anything to do with the Butler house, would it?
She shoots you kind of a disapproving look that you probably think means you just hit the nail on the head.
Is there a window? Or yeah, I want to look for a window that would be facing the Butler house right now.
Okay, sure. You look off in that direction.
Is there any new holes blasted in the ceiling?
Does not appear to be any other disaster or purple smoke rising into the sky.
Gotcha. Okay. Still disturbed. Just try to not think about the house too much, but that is like very, very difficult. And just wait for the others.
Okay. So everyone enjoys breakfast. And then shortly thereafter, you all hear a knock at the front door. The Widow Borga stands up, hobbles over there quite slowly, opens the door, and you don't hear any conversation, but she lets someone in, and you see a younger man with sort of sandy brown colored hair, a number of freckles across his face, and he comes into the dining room where you all are and says, "Ah, good, found you all, wonderful. My name is Lee Bennett. Nice to meet you." He's not wearing a cap, but he mimes tipping one. And Madam Pemberton sent me over to fetch y'all.
Okay.
Oh, well, thank you. It's nice to meet you.
Are we?
So, if you're all ready, or do you need some time to finish your breakfast? Sorry if I caught you eating.
Fine. Are we to go now? What time does the party start? And
Well, the party won't be until this evening, but the Madam Pemberton just wanted to meet all of you.
Oh, all right.
Okay. I'm gonna fetch my coat.
Matthew, do we do any of us know why we've been invited, or was it just sort of like spontaneous that we received an invitation?
Kind of spontaneous.
Harlow sort of eyes everybody at the table, unsure why these other folks have been invited. She can sort of think about why she would be spontaneously invited to a place. She's assuming job at this point, but no clue why the other three are here.
Well,
Yeah,
we
I'll
will
go.
just finish this up, lickety split, and be available in just a moment.
Marvelous. I'll be outside. And he goes and leaves.
Even if Harlow hasn't finished her food yet, but she just starts putting her stuff down, and like clearly like just folding her napkin and preparing to go. Ed looks for the widow. Everything was very good, thank you.
She doesn't say anything. She just starts cleaning up.
As she's cleaning, I'll get up to go and grab my coat and cane and throw over my shoulder. Oh, don't forget, if you remember anything about that painting, do let me know.
Thank you again for a lovely breakfast. I will see you later.
Thank you.
All right. So you all head outside and you are met with the sight of a very nice carriage. It seems almost out of time in this day and age, but it's a very fine black carriage being pulled by a pair of pristine white horses. And you see Lee is up on the sort of coach platform with the reins and gestures for all of you to climb inside.
Sure. That much of a word.
All right, you all climb in, and you hear the reins crack, and the horses start going. There's that clip, clop, clip, clop, clip sound of their hooves across the cobblestones as the carriage starts to move, and you are all being transported through town. So, as the various edifices and buildings and houses and storefronts pass, as you move through the streets of town towards the Pemberton Manor House, is there anything you would like to discuss? Anything you would like to do? Or should we just fast forward to you arriving?
Harlow weirdly is hyper aware of where the Butler house is as they move through town. But no, she's just very in her head. She's got her journal out and is she very carefully earlier that day had folded the sketch she'd done so that she didn't look at it accidentally if she turned a page, and has started a new page with sort of notes for today.
Okay.
I don't know that Marguerite is doing anything particular. She's kind of just along for the ride at the moment. I think she's just like, this is fine. Everything is completely normal. Of course, why would we be summoned so early? This is whatever. She's just kind of taking everything as it comes. She's rather unflappable.
I don't know anything weird's going on yet, so I'm just enjoying the ride.
The
Yeah.
only weird thing is the invitation.
All right. So, after about 10 minutes of a carriage ride, you find yourselves arriving at the resplendent Pemberton estate. You pass through these tall, well-groomed hedges that seem to frame the property along this wide white cobblestone and up to the front door of the manor, where a man in a very fine black servant's attire comes forward and opens the door for all of you to help you out of the carriage. He says, good day. Welcome each of you to the Pemberton estate. My name is Hastings. I am Madam Pemberton's butler, and if there's anything you need while you're here, please do not hesitate to ask.
Thank you, that is incredibly kind.
Now, if you will please, and he gestures and leads all of you in through the double door entrance into the grand foyer, and you are greeted by this incredibly opulent interior of this estate house. It is grand and grandiose and very beautiful. There is a large crystal chandelier, almost shaped like an orb, that hangs over the foyer that is brimming with golden light. And you see paintings and portraitures and candelabras and these exquisite vases filled with fresh flowers, and everything is very well appointed and well to do. As Hastings leads you in through the foyer into into the parlor, where there are a pair of individuals. You see a man probably in his mid to late 50s, with a very thin pencil mustache, balding on top, wearing a, looks to be like a smoking jacket, and a very nice, like, sort of like silk damask, very expensive looking. He has a pipe perched in the corner of his mouth, though it doesn't appear to be lit at the moment. And he is reading through some kind of like newspaper. And then there's also a woman who stands upright, at attention, with her fingers knit and her hands clasped together over her breast as you enter. And she is wearing these wonderfully colorful, sort of burgundy with shades of orchid as well. This long dress with large puffy sleeves that is fitted to her very curvaceous form. She also looks to be probably in her mid to late 50s, silver-colored hair pulled back in a very high bouffant, and a string of large pearls around her neck, multiple rings on her fingers. And as Hastings bows and gestures towards her, he says, "It is my privilege to introduce Madam Pemberton. Madam Pemberton, your guests have arrived." And this woman steps forward and regards each of you. "We are ever so pleased that you could join us for our gala this evening. Oh, thank you. It has been quite a journey for each of you, I am sure, but we are ever so grateful that you made the effort to be here with us." And she holds out her hand, first towards you, Elijah.
It has been so long, and I will take the hand and kiss it.
"Oh, Elijah, you are such the image of your father. Why, back in his day, he was quite the looker, and you have followed suit."
Yes. Yes, father was quite the one to look at.
She goes over, offers her hand to Robin next.
Shake your hand. Oh, hi. It's nice to see you again.
"And ever wonderful to see you as well. Thank you so much for joining us."
Of course.
She will then turn to Marguerite, offer her hand.
And Marguerite will take it. "Hello, it is wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for your kind invitation."
"Of course, it is my pleasure to meet you. I have heard such wonderful things of your work. I cannot wait to get to know you better at the gala this evening."
Likewise, thank you.
And finally, she comes over and offers her hand to you, Harlow.
Hello.
"Hello, it is a marvel to meet you as well. I've heard such things. You have a wonderful reputation amongst your peers."
Thank you. Please forgive any impertinence, but why was I invited to this?
Well, a number of the ladies in my strata, let me start over again. A number of the well-to-do individuals in our strata of society are very interested in the occult, and you being a well-regarded member of this community, we absolutely had to have you at our party. Would it be possible for you to show some manner of demonstration this evening?
Now that Harlow gets a sense of what's going on, of course, I would be happy to regale your guests with some spiritualism.
Marvelous.
Incredibly bored at the prospect.
We very much look forward to it.
Wonderful.
There's a slow turn from Elijah. Harlow, are you a performer?
No.
But you're going to
Why?
perform this evening.
I do not perform in the sense of for entertainment, though some may see it as that.
Harlow
man who
provides a
is
service, not a performance.
Provide
Exactly.
an insight.
the man who has been quiet up until now doesn't even look in your direction. He just says around his pipe, bunch of quackery and women talk. The woman, Madame Pemberton, turns and gives him a long side eye. She says, "Now, Rupert, that is no way to speak in front of our guests."
Heard worse, ma'am. It's Harlow stops herself just shy of saying it's all right, because I've heard worse.
Please do forgive Rupert. We try to teach him manners, but they very rarely stick.
I appreciate your invitation. Thank you for being so hospitable.
Now then, if you would all like to tour the grounds ahead of tonight's gala, we would be happy for Hastings to show you about.
Harlow perks up a little bit at that. Yes, I would appreciate that. Getting a lay of the land would be very helpful. Thank you.
That would be wonderful.
Yes.
All right. So she gestures to Hastings, who bows respectfully towards her, and then gestures for all of you to exit the room. So Hastings gives you a grand tour of the grounds, shows you the great ballroom where the gala will be formally held. You do notice as you are touring the ballroom, which is fantastic and opulent, and there are tables being set up for all manner of refreshment. There are dozens of people in waiter and waitress uniforms, bustling about, getting everything prepared. There is one small room, it looks like, off the side of the ballroom that is currently closed off. And then Hastings does not show you that as he's giving you the tour of the area. And then leads you outside, shows you the grounds, the grand garden, the fountain centerpiece, and all of this wonderful opulence. You're getting the idea that Madame Pemberton was looking for a reason to show off just how wonderful and impressive her home is. So, once the tour is completed, is there anything any of you would like to do?
I would
Um,
ask,
go
as
ahead.
they're walking us around, how many are you expecting at tonight's gala?
Well, we are expecting the entire town, or at least most of it, those who are capable of attending, along with a number of dignified persons, such as yourselves, from out of town to mark the occasion. All told, probably in the region of 5,000 individuals.
Oh, well, you will certainly get much use out of all of this space.
It's proving to be quite the soiree.
It's a good thing we booked our rooms when we did.
Are there any are we shown any rooms that are like studies or something with lots of seating but like kind of intimate?
Yeah, there are a few different rooms like that.
So like a drawers thing. I'm just Harlow's assessing where it might be best to commune this evening.
Certainly.
Harlow?
Yes.
Are you all right with the request you've been given? I want to make sure it's not putting you out any.
I expected it. I don't normally get invited to parties, so when I am, it's usually because somebody wants to have a parlor trick or some sort of entertainment. I'm used to it. It's fine. 5,000 is a lot of people.
Yes, quite.
Yeah. It'll be fine. I'll figure something out.
Well, I will be close by should you need me.
Thank you. I'll let you know. It'll be fine.
Of course.
All right. So, after seeing the grounds and having only any questions you have answered, you are delivered back to town to make whatever preparations you would like to make for the evening, have your outfits put on, and whatever other arrangements you would like to make. Any special preparations people are making for this evening?
Knowing that this was not some sort of like consultation, something on a more professional capacity, but more of an entertainment capacity. I do make a point to grab any sort of accoutrement that I have for communing or what would you say? Yeah, just any of the stuff that I would sort of be able to use in a medium capacity. So I have my bracelet, and I probably have some sort of specific like cloth or something that I use, or don't want to chip people's tables and stuff. So it's probably like sort of a soft fabric cloth to use on a tabletop, and off the top of my head, I don't have exactly what other stuff, but it would just be like a small collection of things that she would use. Some are more for show because people expect them, so like candles, and
Sure.
some of them are actual tools that she would be using regularly.
Okay.
I think Marguerite just changes into something a little bit more appropriate for a gala, but does bring her slightly larger purse to make sure that she has access to her small sidearm, and in case she needs it, and as well as her stock of sedatives, should those also be needed.
Well, now it's really a party. With that mentioned, I also bring my knife. I usually have it like on my back, holstery thing.
Robin brings his bag because he's got like he works with antiques and things like that, and he's got like little things with him to show. Assuming that's sort of why he was brought. So we got like it's a very big rabbit's like it's a rabbit's foot, but it's like slightly too big. That he's like, this is definitely from a jackalope, I swear.
Yeah, I love it.
He fully believes they're real, and like little things like that.
See, I
Awesome.
heard with antiques, and I was just like, did you bring like polish with you, or like
Small things like these keys. I don't know what they go to, but they just seem really cool, like things like that. I have 6 wealth worth of antiques. So
God, 11 wealth worth of nothing.
All right. So, guns and knives and antiques in
And-
tow.
and my gun. I also have a gun.
Okay.
Nothing's wrong, but I'm bringing this.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm not.
leave it at the house, just in case. I don't know.
That's kind of my concern. Like at first, I was like, oh, I don't think Elijah would bring like the antique gun that they just purchased. But I'm also not certain I want to leave it at this place with 5,000 people in town. Like, I don't want stuff to get stolen. So it might be a matter of like taking the case, but giving it to Hastings when we arrive. Because I don't imagine the widow has a safe. Or if so, she's very tight-lipped about the combination.
I'm sure. Oh, I definitely bring my journal too because I do not want that falling into the wrong hands with 5,000 people in town.
That'd be a HIPAA
Okay.
file.
Well, I wouldn't be the only one. So,
Sedatives might be part of that too.
all right. So, all of your items in tow. Night falls, and from its perch, kind of up on sort of a hillside, approaching a mountainside, overlooking the town, you can see the lights light up the Pemberton estate. So as you all come out in the evening, you are once again picked up by Lee via a carriage, and you notice that there are a few other carriages moving through town, carrying people of import that have been invited to this gala. You are shepherded up to the Pemberton estate, where you are.
The music that plays in Harry Potter when they go to Hogwarts.
As you exit the carriage, Hastings is there greeting everyone as they arrive, offering to take any coats or purses, bags, packages you might want set aside. So, Elijah, you hand him your Chesterton case.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else being left in the custody of the butler?
The bag that I have that has my more of the sort of passive elements of my my trade, and then
Okay.
I'd ask them to put it in if I scoped out a study space that might work. Just I need a thing that feels like a seance space. Is basically what I'm
Of course.
asking.
Of course. You will put that in there for you.
I am going to keep my items close. You never know what you might need.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. So, you all begin to mingle. There is a small chamber orchestra that is set up at one end of the ballroom that's playing this beautiful, sweet music that just pervades throughout the estate and out through the large open doorways of the ballroom into the gardens as people are just everywhere. Enjoying themselves, enjoying champagne and some other assortment of spirits if there's something else you would prefer, and little refreshments and snacks and fondue. So, you all begin to mingle and move about in the party. And I'd like you all to roll to poke around. Everyone roll plus luck, please.
9.
12.
7.
Also 9.
Okay. Robin, you notice as the party is going on that at one point there's a woman in a very fine, like golden colored gown with these tassels coming off of the bottom of it, who almost sort of swoons and half falls over into the arms of one of the waiters who just happened to be standing by and catches her. And immediately, Madame Pemberton rushes over and starts giving instructions, and the waiters carry this woman who looks like she's fainted off into this room that you didn't see previously, that's attached to the ballroom.
Is
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that. Never mind.
I was actually probably, well, I don't know. Whoever's closest, I probably would have passed it on to.
So who's Robin hanging out with at the party?
I'm avoiding socializing too much.
Not Harlow, probably. Maybe Elijah, because I feel like he would know more people than me.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a clear, like, oh, and this is Robin, and Robin, why don't you regale them with some of the tales of the things that you find, and, like an unintentional helping to peddle wares.
Mm-hmm.
You're a business wingman.
Business wingman.
It's my official title on my new card.
I'll point that out to Elijah then.
Oh, that's unusual. I kind of take a look around to see if anybody else, like whenever I see someone get faint at one of these galas, I always assume bad food or bad temperature, and I don't feel the temperature being weird. So I want to look around to see if I see anyone else who's acting a little unsteady on their feet.
Looking around, everyone else seems to be okay, but there's a lot of people in here too, so your vision is very limited.
That's very interesting. I wonder what happened.
Don't know. I'm kind of keeping an eye out for something similar.
Okay, as you're keeping an eye out, maybe 20 minutes or so later, the door to that room opens up and the woman in the golden gown comes out, and she looks fine.
Okay.
I think that seeing that, I would make my way over to them. Are you all right? Was there anything that caught you off guard there? I noticed you had a bit of a bit of a spill.
Oh, yes, it's somewhat embarrassing. I was a little faint for a moment, but I'm quite all right now. Thank you for asking, though. You are quite the gentle person. My name is Keziah Dvorak, and she offers a gloved hand.
I will take it and air kiss it so I don't get anything on the glove. The sauce from the hors d'oeuvres, I don't know.
First, I thought you were saying so you don't get anything. I don't know what she is.
And you are?
My name is Elijah Griggs.
Of the Griggs family.
Yes.
Marvelous. Well, it's wonderful to meet you.
So I have to ask, we got a tour here early, and that room was off limits. Was it stunning back there? I'm just all agitated to know what the Pembertons didn't want us to see, if it's the nicest room or the room that they hadn't quite yet put together.
Oh, no, that is simply Madame Pemberton's fainting closet for any woman who's overcome by the excitement.
Oh, I see.
It's quite nice, very relaxing. Though I doubt someone of your hardy constitution would need it.
Oh, well, oh, you'd be amazed. The things that can fluster me.
She blushes a little bit.
And then I will excuse myself and make my way back over to Robin. Apparently that's the fainting room, in case any of us are so inclined throughout the evening.
Okay. Strange that it's all those off limits, but okay.
So, as the evening carries on, Harlow, at one point, Madame Pemberton does find you amid the soiree, and she's accompanied by a small gaggle of other well-dressed, well-to-do women. Says, here we are. Thank you, Harlow, for attending this evening. I've been telling all of our friends about your wondrous gifts. Would it be all right to ask for a small demonstration?
Sure. And Harlow sort of takes a deep breath and kind of tries to put on more of the showmanship that she's had to develop doing these sort of things. I would be happy to give a demonstration. For how many people?
Oh, just the five of us, and if that's all right.
That would be fine. Of course. I asked to have a room set aside. It would be better to have a little bit of quiet. And Harlow will
Of
just
course.
this way. Trying to remember where the room was.
Mm-hmm. Madame Pemberton actually leads the way. She seems to know exactly which room has been prepared for you. Marguerite, you notice Harlow being escorted off by Madame Pemberton and this group of women.
I am going to discreetly make my way after them so I am not too far behind. Just in
Okay.
case I'm needed.
Sure. Madame Pemberton leads everyone out of the ballroom and to this study room that has been prepared. And when I say prepared, all of the electric lights in the room have been turned down. There are a few sconces and candles that have been lit to give just the right atmosphere. A circular table has been set in the middle of the room, all the other furniture cleared out except for a half dozen chairs. And your bag of various items is there waiting for you. So, Marguerite, you watch as Madame Pemberton enters the room, followed by her entourage and Harlow. Do you wish to follow them into the room?
Yes. Oh wait, who are you talking to?
Marguerite, sorry.
Yes, I do
was
wish to
Harlow
follow them
being
into the room.
Okay. As you come in, Madame Pemberton sees you and says, "Oh, Marguerite,
Might I
wonderful. Would you like
join
to join
you?
us for..." We would be delighted.
Oh, thank you.
Hastings! And Hastings brings in another chair.
Thank you so much.
Harlow sees that Marguerite has joined and just has a sort of like, okay. I don't know if Marguerite's ever seen Harlow actually like do anything or see anything, or I don't know. I don't know if we've only just talked about it.
I'm not sure either. I think given the fact that you and I have the highest level of trust between us of everybody, I think that there's a lot that maybe we've talked about together. So I don't think she's going to be, judging Harlow by anything
Sure.
that happens. I think she's mainly there just in case Harlow gets overwhelmed or needs someone. Because I
Okay.
know of some of the things that you have seen.
Mm-hmm. So Harlow sort of gestures for everyone to take a seat around the table. And uh, and then sort of as she has them sit, starts kind of waxing on about um, there are so as this is the 99th anniversary of your fair town, it seems that there would be a quite a history to um, reach out to, but I would be willing to have a volunteer if anyone would like to uh, assist me um, in a communing with the spirits of the beyond. And she kind of looks around and sees if anybody looks particularly interested.
The various women all look sort of a little bit giddy to be taking part in such an event. Uh, Madam Pemberton raises one hand.
Of course, hostess first. Um, uh, Madam Pemberton, I would, and Harlow unclips or unfastens the chain around her wrist with the tiny finger bones on it. I would need only a question from you, or some guidance you might want to ask of the spirit.
She seems to contemplate quite soberly for a moment and says, "The Pemberton estate has enjoyed a great amount of prosperity in the past year. Will our prosperity continue into the coming year?"
And she puts a lot of thought on her face, and I can certainly request they offer some sort of guidance for you. Um, and she has the bones out and says, "Of course, any requests made do require payment of some kind." And she pulls the sort of dramatically, overly dramatic, pulls the knife out from behind her shirt, and
All the women gasp,
uh,
except Madam Pemberton.
hmm, uh, and then puts her hand, the one missing the pinky bone, puts her hand on the table and just sort of like gestures, but then looks at her hand and goes, "Oh, it seems I've already made such a sacrifice," like in an attempt to get a laugh from them and diffuse the tension a little bit. It's a very, very practiced joke. It's like the one thing charming she knows how to do to kind of like get these people to like chill out a little bit. Because that like
There's
sort
a tittering of laughter.
of, and she'll put it back. And she goes, I merely need to commune with them for a moment. Uh, and I'm going to use my consultation ability.
Fantastic. So you're going to roll plus luck.
So I'm consulting the spirits for answers using my my tools. That's an 8.
Okay. You try to read the omens as your finger bones spill out across this black velvet mat that you've laid out. And you are looking for patterns, looking for signs, looking for some kind of meaning. And you hear a little voice in your head. And it's one you recognize. And you know that you're the only one in this room that can hear it. And it says, doesn't seem like it's working real well.
There is a small smirk on Harlow's face. She kind
Maybe
of
she should ask a better question.
Lady Pemberton, I am thinking that a more specific question might provide a clearer response. There's so much that could affect the prosperity of a family, but and the definition of prosperity can be so easily taken in different directions. So something more specific, perhaps, would be welcome.
She seems to think for a moment. Is there any action, any specific action that we should undertake to ensure that our immediate desires are fulfilled?
What would those desires be?
Why, the bringing of new and other deserving individuals into our prosperity.
There's a cold note. So, she'll take that half-ass answer, and can I do that again, or am I gonna re-roll it according to the rules of this? Getting a partial success, I can re-roll at a -1 penalty.
Because it's a different question, I'll say you won't have the penalty.
Okay. So I will. So she'll gather the bones again, and just sort of like move them in her hand, sort of very very specifically, and then kind of just flick them in this kind of curved thing, looking for to make sort of a weird arc. It's more of a style thing than an actual. It's like when you really want to make sure your dice are shuffled well when you roll them, and that kind of thing. So she'll do that again. Consult the spirits. 9.
Okay. And again, you hear that little voice saying, not really sure if I want to help her out. I don't like her.
Harlow, is this something that I can think back at, or do I need to talk, Matthew? If I wanted to respond.
If you want to respond, you can do it mentally without speaking.
Okay. Then Harlow's going to think to herself, you don't have to like her. Harlow will take a breath and look down at the bones and sort of nod sagely at them and glance back up at Lady Pemberton. You are a woman of great conviction, and when you have previously set your mind to tasks before for this search for prosperity, it has brought you, and she kind of looks around, it's brought you success. So continuing to follow your instinct would be the best course of action.
You see her giving a sort of a knowing nod, as if she understood that and it wasn't complete bullcrap. Does Marguerite wish to ask a question in given this opportunity, or should we move
Harlow
back
would
to
open the floor if that's it.
Would you be so kind, Harlow, as to ask? Does it need to be a yes or no question, or can there be extra nuance?
That is a question for Matthew.
It can be as nuanced as you like.
Okay.
Can you ask them? I forgot a name. 1 second. If can you ask them why Professor Waters would entrust me with the knowledge of his symbol?
Harlow just... I could ask that, sure. And then I kind of glance around the room. They do hear it.
My apologies.
Harlow pulls the bones back, does a little that sort of moving them around in her hand again, and does that curled gesture to throw the bones again.
All right.
That's very bad. I was gonna say I could use something, but if it was, that's a it's a 5.
That is way too pointed and specific a question, I'm sure.
There you go. That's how we'll say that instead of my dice weren't happy.
You don't get a worded response this time, Harlow. What you get instead is a feeling. And it's a feeling of not anger, but upset. Feel like whatever spirit you've contacted does not like something about this question. Something about it makes them uneasy, and they do not want to answer. And you also suffer a -1 luck penalty going forward.
I do. So Harlow looks down at the bones, and as she gets that sort of wave of "don't fuck with this question" sort of response, her brow furrows quite a bit, and she looks back up to Marguerite. That is a question that has been deemed above my pay grade, unfortunately.
Not entirely surprised. Thank you for asking anyway.
You're welcome. Just she kind of sits back in her chair, takes a breath, as if collecting herself a little bit, because she sort of definitely feels that something's not happy with me, and sort of asks around the table, and then this can be a fade, asks around the table if anyone else would care to question.
Sure. Meanwhile, we'll cut away. The party has been going on for a couple of hours. Elijah and Robin, I'm not sure how much you have partaken of the various refreshments, but people have been wining and dining all evening. And you can see some elements that look like they're starting to show just how much champagne they've been enjoying. Elijah, as you are having a delightful conversation with a couple of other gentrified people, someone bumps into you quite brusquely. And as he does, the glass of... What would Elijah be holding?
Honestly, it depends on what they were serving, but probably champagne.
Okay. Yeah, champagne was going around, but you could also request something else if it was more to Elijah's tastes. So,
Yeah, no, champagne works.
yep. The flute of champagne that you're holding as you get bumped into roughly just splashes all over the front of you and down onto your attire. And you look and you see the person who bumped into you is a dark-haired man, hair down to about his shoulders, a very well-groomed goatee, and these just very dark, intense eyes as he turns to look at you, almost like, why the hell did you stand there when I was walking past?
Does he bear resemblance to the mustachioed man from earlier?
There is a bit of a resemblance there, yes.
I will gesture to the closest person serving drinks to ask where the bathroom is, so I can try to clean myself up, and I will indicate to Robin, it's about time. I think the show is going to begin.
Oh, yeah. Gonna kind of edge away from the guy, like take a step away. But yeah.
One of the wait staff will come over to you, Elijah, and apologizing profusely, please, sir, come with me, and we will get you cleaned up.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
And they lead you towards that door off the side of the ballroom.
Oh, I had heard that this was the fainting room. I'm not prepared to faint, just been splashed as if I was fainting.
Oh, yes, sir. We can get you cleaned up in here, please. And open the door for you. And inside you see what looks like a very nice room. There's a large fainting couch in the center of it. There are a couple basins of water off to the side. There is an attendant standing by there with looks to be a wet compress at the ready, should anyone need it. And you are ushered inside. Please, sir, have a seat. We will get you cleaned up right away.
Yes, thank you. Fortunately, it was almost a clear drink.
So, the waiter who brought you in begins, grabs like a wet towel and comes over. May I?
Yes, of course.
So, begins wiping down your clothing, and as they're doing this, you hear something moving around behind you.
As I'm kind of indicating where it is that they're getting a look over my shoulder and see if someone is stirring.
You look over your shoulder and you don't see a person. But what you notice now that you didn't see as you came in is there is a chest set just next to the fainting couch.
Does it seem like it's that sounds like a weird question, but does it seem like it's moving?
Does not appear to be moving as you look at it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I will turn back around to the person helping me out.
Turn back around and you hear that sound of like rustling or moving behind you again.
And
the
at
person
that point,
I'm so very sorry, sir. We'll get this cleaned up right away. I'm sure it won't stain.
Yes. It's and I'm gonna basically do a 180 around them. So like I'm trying to examine it in the light so that as they're doing this, I can see if that chest has moved.
Okay. I'm assuming you're doing this quickly?
Yeah, I'm treating it like
Okay,
a boo, like I'm spinning around and
you quickly get up and spin around, and as you do, as soon as you turn, you just see the lid of the chest drop closed.
and there's a moment of processing.
And the servant says, oh, please, sir, please sit down. We'll take care of it. It's quite all right.
No. I think that I think I've probably gotten enough of it off of here. I think that just one moment, and I'm gonna turn and try to walk out of the room.
Okay. They don't stop you.
Okay, and I get outside of the door, and there's this kind of wild-eyed moment, and then some. No, surely it was just the trunk was there. They probably keep compresses and blankets and things like that, and someone opened it and it fell shut. Surely. And I will return to Robin.
Yeah. You do know there wasn't anyone on that side of the room, but...
Yes, but I'm lying to myself.
You wanna... Of course.
It's one of my special moves.
It is.
All cleaned up. Everything's fine.
Yes. Kind of. I think you've seen a lot of things, Robin. You've got the jackalope's foot. We've seen some of the things that you have come across. I swear that there was a trunk in there that moved.
Oh, it's interesting.
Like, not like, oh, the room has shifted. We're on a ship, and oh, look, the chest is sliding. But when my back was to it, like it was getting closer.
That's interesting. I want to see it.
Well, and I will grab a drink and spill it on Robin's shirt.
Okay.
They wouldn't allow us in earlier, but with this, excuse me, could someone help my friend out here?
Another waiter's passing by. Oh, yes, of course, sir. Please come with me. We'll get that cleaned up right away.
Okay, I'll follow.
And I'm gonna follow like a little further behind and try to like position myself outside the door.
Okay, sure. So, Robin, you are led into the fainting closet. You see this scene of a nice, for a closet, it's like the size of a full bedroom. And you are led to the fainting couch. You sit down. If you make an effort of looking behind you as you sit down, you do see this rather large trunk set behind the fainting couch. And the waiters immediately come and, with a damp cloth, begin trying to wipe you off. And you hear a soft, almost like creaking sound just behind you.
Yeah, I kind of glance back to look at it.
Okay. As you glance back, I need you to act under pressure. So roll plus reason for me.
Eight.
8. Okay. You look back and you can't come up with words to describe what you see. Just looking at it is painful. It's like it hurts your eyes to concentrate on it or try and make out the shape of exactly what it is, but something is climbing out of that trunk, and it is reaching out towards you. With an 8, I will say you can get away with no harm, but you're going to leave something behind. Or you can get away and you'll take some harm.
I think I'll get away. I'll take harm. I'm not gonna like be back there or anything.
All right, so you get away. You suffer 3 shock.
Oof.
And you exit the room quickly.
Elijah's right outside the door, right?
Yeah.
Kind of scoot over to them. There was something. I don't know what it was, but there was something coming out of it.
Out of the trunk.
Yeah.
Well, what did it look like?
Something? I don't know.
Could you give me, I don't know, size, color, texture, something?
About yeah. I don't I don't know.
All right, so no to the fainting room.
Yeah.
Back in the other room, as Harlow, you are working through making doing your consultations for this group of well-to-do women. How many of them are you being truthful, and how many of them are you just
If
doing the
if
dance?
if they ask me something like, "Will I find a husband?" I'm not gonna actually be asking the spirits that. I'm gonna give some sort of like vague, very like, yeah, I'm gonna give like a false. Oh, just you know, I might even give them some sort of like very specific advice that have to like seem very mysterious. For the most part, I'm only asking the spirits if I'm genuinely interested in what the answer is, or if they're asking for any one specific. I might try to actually reach out to that person because I don't want to get caught not trying to talk to a person. Like if I make something up and that's wrong, I'm not gonna cold read them really.
Okay. So you're doing that, and the door opens, and Hastings comes in and whispers something into the ear of Madame Pemberton. And, she's very stone-faced, very difficult to read as he says it. But as soon as he's done, she stands up from the table, says, "We are very sorry, but we must leave. There is another matter at the party that needs our attention."
Very well. It was a pleasure to host you all.
Thank you so much for your talents, Tarlo. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Could I take a moment to try and read Madame Pemberton as she exits?
Sure. Roll plus passion to read a person.
Eight.
Okay.
Not great, but not terrible.
All right. So, let's see here. All right. So on an 8, I'll say you can ask one question about her demeanor.
Did she seem like she was trying to hide alarm? Or was it just like, oh, something, we need to move on because we're running out of time? I wanted to try and gauge whether or not there was something that startled or alarmed her.
She's very good at keeping up the poker face. However, with your experience, you are also quite good at reading even micro expressions in people. There's something that Hastings said to her that upset her. So, she leaves. The demonstration, as it were, without her presence is sort of brought to an impromptu end. The other ladies leave to rejoin the party, which leaves the two of you in the room. If you would like to remain there or go back out to the party is up to you.
It'll take some time to clean up my stuff.
Yeah, I'll stay with her.
In a very particular order, and I have to re-thread all the bones back onto the chain, which takes a little bit.
Are you all right?
I'll be fine, you know. Not as easy each time. They do have a lot of questions, don't they?
We do.
I'm sorry, I couldn't.
It's all right. It's a big ask. I haven't puzzled through it myself, and it's more of a flight of fancy than anything else. It's quite all right. I am a little concerned about our hostess. Whatever news she got was upsetting to her, at the very least.
There's 5,000 people at a party. How much trouble can they get into?
Indeed. Perhaps her son has shown up and done something rash.
You know, people getting on his case about drinking too much, but it's been my experience that people with vices like that sometimes have good reason.
My experience as well. Anything I can do to help assist you?
Stay? That would be helpful. I don't want to... This place is... I don't know.
Of course. And she'll stay?
Marl will just quietly be cleaning up stuff.
Okay. Back at the party, Robin and Elijah, what are the two of you doing now?
I feel like I would be waiting for someone else to go in and trying to peek the corner.
Okay. So you two are just sort of hovering around, waiting, watching the door, seeing if anyone else goes in, when you hear a voice approaching behind the two of you. We hope you are enjoying our gala this evening. As you turn around, you see Madame Pemberton standing right there.
Yes, it's quite amazing the number of people that you have fit onto your grounds. I was quite stunned when I almost called him the wrong name, when Hastings told us how many people would be in attendance this evening.
Yeah, it's great.
We see that you have some stains upon your person. We were told that perhaps a member of the Pemberton estate had been rather rude to you.
Yes, there was a young man who seemed to be in a bit of a hurry, who did resemble your husband, brush past us.
Yes. We apologize sincerely, and if there is any way in which we can make this slight up to you, we will be happy to do so.
Well, it is greatly appreciated and entirely unnecessary. You can't have 5,000 people in a place without some jostling every now and then.
She turns and regards you for a moment, Robin.
Yeah, really, it's all right.
Very well. We will leave you to enjoy the gala. And she turns and disappears into the crowd. As she walks away, you notice another woman who appears to be sort of wobbling and a bit woozy on her feet, being held up by two waitstaff, being ushered through the door into the room, into the fainting closet. Elijah, you try to peek in, and all you see is the nicely appointed interior.
I don't see the three people that just went in.
You do. You see them walk in, and then they sit the woman on the fainting couch, and the door closes.
Yes, of course, the door. I hadn't considered that, I say to Robin. I think I'm gonna try to crack it open and peek through the crack in the door.
Okay. Why don't you roll to act under pressure? So roll plus reason for me.
10.
10. Excellent. So, despite how many people are around, you surreptitiously crack the door open and peek inside. And what you see strikes you to the core. You see an indescribable shape rising up and wrapping itself around this woman. As she is just, her face is this mask of terror, frozen in place. And your eyes, the pain of even looking at this thing is intense and reminiscent of an experience you had before, an experience you convinced yourself could not possibly have been true.
I stagger back and click the door shut and turn
do.
to Robin.
You also suffer 3 shock, which I think you reduced to 2.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that you saw in the trunk earlier, was it did it hurt when you looked at it? Did it hurt to gaze upon?
Yes.
I've seen that thing before. I've seen that thing before. That thing was in my home when I was much younger, in my garage.
Oh.
No. No, this can't. This simply can't. No, that's nonsense. It's clearly some traumatic memory that I have written over, and I saw something else happening in there, and I've convinced myself that I'm seeing a repeat of what I saw before. That has to be it. There aren't things that just hurt to look upon. Yes?
But I saw it too.
Right. And you wouldn't be repestering my memory from childhood. I don't
At this
want
point,
to...
all the lights go out.
Cool.
The ballroom is plunged into darkness. You hear screams and shouts of alarm as everything goes black.
I have a flashlight, so I'm gonna take it out. Says it's reliable.
Yep.
And while they're doing that, I'm gonna try to grab a hold of Robin's shoulders and move us the fuck away from this door.
All right. You shuffle through the darkness as best you can. As Robin, you reach into your belongings and pull out a flashlight. You click it on, and it does illuminate. What direction are you pointing it?
In front of us, if we're moving out to kind of avoid like just running straight into people.
Okay, yeah. You shine it forward in front of you, and there's just a mass of people moving around through the darkness trying to navigate their way. So yeah, you at least, for the moment, can see where you're going, though no one else seems can. Harlow and Marguerite, as you exit the small room that is lit by candlelight, you are met by just impenetrable darkness inside this house.
Well, I don't like that.
I wonder.
Shall
And,
we grab a candle?
No, go ahead. If you know where there is one. Oh, I have candles in my bag. I established that earlier. And then basically Harlow will open the bag and like tap Marguerite with it. Like, I have candles in there.
Oh, good.
And I reach into my pocket looking for matches.
Oh, she'll go back to the
Okay.
room that you said was lit by candlelight and light them on the candles and bring them out so that we can just carry them.
All right. So you each have a very small amount of light that you are carrying to try and navigate your way through this large house in the darkness.
To remember the way that we were led from the main room, but in reverse.
Yep. As you are making your way, you hear a sound behind you, and it's not footsteps. Sounds more like sandpaper scraping along the bottom, or scraping along the wood floors.
I
pull-
turn around.
Okay, you turn around, and this candle, what little light it gives off the radius in front of you, you can't see anything. But you hear that sound, and it seems like it's getting closer now that you've stopped.
I wouldn't stop.
All right.
And I keep moving, sort of tapping her to keep moving,
She does.
but still
Right.
glancing back at when I get too scared.
Okay. You keep moving, and it's actually kind of helpful, the sounds of screaming and shouting coming from the ballroom, to guide you in the correct direction. So after another maybe minute of fumbling in the dark, there's a flicker in the lights throughout the mansion come back on.
Right, there must have
I
just
look
been an
behind us.
explosion.
You look behind you, and nothing there. Though you think you see a doorway just close.
Mm.
I see that, and my my sort of instincts kick in, and I head towards that door.
I'm gonna follow,
Okay. You head over.
and I'm also gonna draw my gun in case whatever that thing is hostile. So I've got it.
Sure.
I knew it. You.
You draw your gun. You come up. The door is just barely cracked open. It's not completely latched.
Harlow has her hand on the door and looks at Marguerite like,
I have your back.
"Oh, I meant I had your back."
Oh, well then perfect. We'll guard each other then.
On 3
Yes.
and on 2, I open the door. I'm just yeah.
Okay.
We'll work on your counting
You
skills next session.
Right. You open the door, and turning around, surprised at your intrusion, you see that same man from before with the pencil-thin mustache and the pipe hanging out the corner of his mouth. Only now he's dressed in like formal gala attire, and he spins around. Oh goodness! What are you doing here?
Oh, my apologies.
You shouldn't be wandering around the house.
We were making our way back from the seance room when everything had gone dark. We must have gotten turned around trying to find our way back.
So it's nonsense.
Heard some strange noises, got a little frightened. Our apologies. We don't wish to bother you. And we'll away from the door. And just
Right,
kind
you-
of nod to Harlow.
All right, back to where the screaming was then, I suppose.
I'm not entirely sure how he was making that sound. Or why. But interesting nonetheless.
It was the buoyant weight of his personality.
Perfect.
Right. Back in the ballroom, Elijah and Robin, you manage to navigate the madness, stop yourselves from being in any way assailed by the other people flailing around blindly in the dark. As the lights come back up, a few people are bruised. Some have been knocked down in the confusion, held back to their feet. There's quite a bit of chatter and discussion going on, and then Madame Pemberton speaks, and everyone immediately falls silent as she addresses the entire gathering. We are most apologetic for this inconvenience. We are not sure what may have caused the loss of our electric light this evening, but we assure you that there is no need for panic or concern. The lights appear to have returned, and we wish you to continue your enjoyment of the festivities throughout the evening.
Robin, there's a lot of people here. A lot of people here. And darkness, and you saw the woman in the dress. When she came back out, she was fine. When I saw that thing in my house, it was trying to pull my father into the box, and then I later saw my father and he was fine. He never even mentioned the crate, and then it was shipped away the next day.
That's really strange.
What could it be? What are they feeding? Why are they changing these people, swapping them out, or doing something to them?
I I don't know. It sounds like there's something. I don't know. Might not be the box, or maybe it is the chest. I don't know. Something living in it.
Yes.
Bound to it somehow. I don't.
Harlow. Harlow said that she could do things, right? But it wasn't a performance, it was real. Yes.
Yes.
We should find those we came here with.
Yes.
This place is enormous. Where the hell do we look?
I don't know. She wants to set up in a different room to do seances, so somewhere else probably.
Is there a, when Mrs. Pemberton spoke, how would I want to ask here? Where did she go to get elevated to see the room?
She really wasn't elevated. She just sort of spoke, and everyone's attention went to her as soon as they heard her voice.
Is there any, for lack of a better term, high ground in here?
There are some tables.
That probably will get noticed.
Some chairs.
That's
maybe
not quite
climb
as
up the
bad.
wall, hang off a wall sconce.
Yeah, I think that I will actually pop up on a chair and look around to see if I can see Harlow or Marguerite.
Okay. You hop up on a chair and you look around over the sea of people, and as you do, you see Harlow and Marguerite at the doorway to the ballroom. They are just returning.
I will indicate to Robin the direction and hop down.
I'll start heading over that way.
All right, so the four of you reunite at the ballroom entrance.
You two all right? Power going out wasn't extremely calming.
No. There's something going on.
Yes. Dr. Marguerite, the thing that I talked to you about, about my father and the absence in my life that he might have, which I was describing in some way of like him being body snatched, and that's why he was always cold and distant. That's not a thing that happened. Like, we saw, Robin and I just saw a thing that was imperceptible to the eye climbing out of a box and taking people. The same thing that I saw in my home.
Make a sound.
Yes, like wood sliding. It was a chest or something dragging.
Harlow looks at Marguerite.
Marguerite looks at Harlow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Safety in numbers, then. Elijah, we'll talk about your father another time. But I am glad that you are coming around to listening to the truth inside of yourself. Let's make sure we can have that session, and let's just stay close, shall we? As we either A, try to get out of here, or B, figure out what exactly is going on.
Harlow, you had said that you did a thing that wasn't a performance, but was unnerving to you in some way. Can you tell what's going on here?
I can look around. I guess sure. And she's just gonna think a little bit about all the pieces that she has right now, and kind of do this sort of cursory inspection of the room around them. Just sometimes she gets hunches, and so she's just
Okay. Why don't you roll to puzzle things out? That kind of sounds like what you're doing. So roll plus reason.
a 9. Total.
9. Okay. You can ask one question, such as, what does this mean? How can I get in or out? Who's in control here? What before me is the most dangerous? What is its weakness? What should I keep an eye out for? How do these things fit together?
How do these things fit together?
Okay. It seems, if Elijah and Robin are to be believed, there is some manner of supernatural being at work here. Something that has the ability to perhaps possess or move within human people. And perhaps that is the origin of the spooky noises you and Marguerite heard in the darkness, if the mustachioed gentleman was also host to such a creature?
I suppose the biggest question I have is whether or not it's just one creature, and if it can only possess things one at a time, or is it taking over more than one person and then they're just... She's just like muttering out loud while she's looking around. So, and Harlow sort of gingerly points towards the room. So you said it was in there. Was
Yes.
the way they're doing it. She looks around at everybody, at the three of them, like, why do I always have to be the one that makes decisions? The self-preserving nature in me would recommend that we leave before we have the same fate as the others here.
Then I think that sounds like an excellent idea. You are the expert when it comes to this particular subject. I will defer to you.
I don't know if I can use this specifically because we're talking about a creature, but I have a lore move that says you know a lot about the item in question. You can spend a point of lore to ask 3 questions about an item. I don't know if I could use that because it isn't specifically the trunk, but it is. I don't know.
It would be more to, in your examination of a specific item. So if you like took a minute to examine the trunk and get, ideas about it or noticed things about it. Not so much just having glanced whatever this was.
Can I trade a roll to puzzle things out too? Because I actually saw it.
Yeah, certainly.
Okay, I rolled a 12, and I have a special move that
Awesome.
lets me ask one additional question.
Okay, so that means you can ask 4 questions, or alternatively, you can gain a point of lore and ask a question.
What were the questions?
So, questions such as, what is this? What does it mean? How can I get in or out? Who's in control here? What before me is the most dangerous? What is its weakness? What should I keep an eye out for? How does this fit into that?
What is this? Be the main one.
Sure. You've had experience with things that seem supernatural or extraordinary. This would seem to be another one of those circumstances where you're dealing with something beyond normal human experience.
What to look out for?
That thing, whatever it was, strange chests or other enclosures that might hold a creature of its type.
Can I ask how to avoid harm from it?
It only seemed to come at you when you were very, very close. As soon as you moved away from it, it didn't pursue you.
I don't really have any other questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the suggestion has been raised that you depart the party. Do you wish to do that, or do you wish to linger?
I think departure is wise.
Yeah, I don't think it shouldn't pursue, so.
Harlow, or is your suggestion? And Elijah, are you all right and ready to move?
Yes, I have always heard that discretion is the better part of valor. We can't be certain who here is and isn't affected. We could be all that's left. It might be best to...
What is the state of everyone around here?
Largely, they seem to be enjoying themselves. The booze is once again flowing. The music is playing.
So
People are
screaming
getting back
happened.
into the spirit of things.
So the screaming all happened in the dark, and then people very quickly kind of recovered when the lights came back on?
Yeah, they're at a party. They went back to partying.
What was the tone of the screaming? Was it like you're in kindergarten and someone turns the lights out kind of screaming? Or was it like...
That kind of screaming, yes.
Okay. It's like, if it was like bloody murder screaming, I'm super...
I can't see. Who's touching me? Where are we going? Oh God, I tripped. That kind of thing.
Okay. That's a lot less dire than... then yeah. Harlow just sort of nods. I think I've performed enough this evening. I'm sure she got her wasn't getting paid for this.
Yeah.
We should go.
Yeah, I feel like why we were invited is pretty clear now, and I don't wish to accept anything else.
I'll tell you what, Harlow, if we get back to that train and out of this town, I will pay whatever your fee here was supposed to be.
Appreciate it.
Right.
I'll be...
Let
This
us
has just
not,
turned into an escort mission.
let's not worry too much about pleasantries with goodbye, shall we?
You make an expeditious exit. As you are leaving, you recover the belongings you left in Hastings' care. He calls a carriage around for you, apologizes that you aren't staying later, hopes that you all enjoyed your time at the gala this evening, and
Thank you.
sends you on your way back to town. Now, as it is after 5 o'clock, and I had intended this only to go until 5, I will say let's wrap it up for here. If you are all available to come back maybe next week, we can continue this mystery.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It is entirely possible.
It's like
Right,
very wary. Yes.
I will just put in one final little bit to wrap up this session. As you all make your find yourselves back at the Widow Borga's house, you find yourselves to your various rooms and turn in for the evening, even though it might be slightly uncomfortable or a bit some nerves keeping you awake for a little bit. Eventually, you all fall asleep, and we see. I think we see from inside Elijah's room, inside the stag room, there's a large window with the the wooden cross section dividing it into the 4 panes. And we see out over across the town of Ebon Eves in the distance. You see the glowing golden light coming from the Pemberton estate. And a long, thin, almost like a long, thin beak appendage protrudes over the window, taps at the glass a couple times, and then pulls back. And there's this soft buzzing noise, like a large insect flying away. But that's going to be the end of the session for today.
Yep.
So, thank you everyone for joining us.
I don't like that.
For
Don't hate that.
what was that about? Maybe we'll see next time. And we'll just quickly do introductions again. My name is Matthew. My pronouns are he, him. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew A. Siebert. You can find me as the Dungeon Master of the Land Above podcast if you head over to nerdsmith.org and check out the shows there. You can also find me on Thursdays at 6 p.m. on this channel hosting No Brainer Trivia. And you can find me as the host of Homebrew Studio if you want to check out our VODs in this Twitch channel or on YouTube. Amanda? There's no Amanda here. Angela, please reintroduce yourself.
You've been driven to the point of forgetting our names with such
Oh my
horror
God.
brought upon us. Hi, my name is Angela. My pronouns are she, her, and you can find me all over the internet at darling_gypsum. And and then on Tuesdays, please check us out. If you liked this game system, I'm also running a Powered by the Apocalypse hack called Urban Shadows. Shadows of Vale. So it's a dark urban fantasy story with lots of politicking and potentially a vampire now if you come in to, this week. So check us out.
Excellent. And Rev, please reintroduce yourself.
I am Rev. You can find me on Twitter at Rev Deshane. I use he, him pronouns. And you can find anything worth knowing about me at thecritshowpodcast.com. That is the show that I host and GM, where we play Monster of the Week and other Powered by the Apocalypse game, all within the same dimension hopping narrative. And we actually just started season 3 a few weeks ago. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Rev. Tessa, please reintroduce yourself.
I am Tessa. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at Silky Dreams and on a variety of different Nerdsmith shows. Yeah, this was very fun. I'm looking forward to next week.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tessa. And Jay, please, with the reintroductions.
Hey, I'm Jay. I use he and they pronouns. I'm Jay with 2 Y's, TXT on Twitter. I forgot to mention this beginning. I am a contributing artist at Nerdsmith and involved in various in-production things that I'll post more about on Twitter whenever they become available or there's information or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you, Jay. Please, if you have not already, join our Discord. There's a link to it below the Twitch player. I will be putting up my homebrewed character sheets for Tremulus in the Homebrew Studio Discord if you would like to have a look at them. Also, you can potentially sign up for some fun games Angela's going to be running. Some fun one-shots in various RPG systems. You can go to the Discover RPG channel in the Discord for that. But I think that is going to be everything for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you enjoyed the beginnings of our mystery in Ebony Eves. And until next time, we will simply say, please be good to yourselves and to one another. If you're going outside, be responsible, wear a mask, socially distance, drink your water, wash your hands, and take care, everybody. Bye.